Hello traders, and welcome to another crypto market update. We've got a jam-packed video like always for you. First, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin's code and algorithm actually being stored for preservation for 1,000 years, which is pretty interesting. And then we'll quickly talk about CZ, which is the CEO and founder of Binance, his opinion on COVID-19 decentralization and the future of cryptocurrencies and blockchain in general. But first, before we get into the new topics, I just want to say if you found this channel interesting, if you found value in it, we would really greatly appreciate if you subscribe to our channel. If you think that this information is valuable, hit that notification button so you are notified whenever we post a video. We post videos Monday to Friday. We post 2 videos a day. One discussing the crypto market, which is called the crypto market update, and we have another one which is the global macro update, which is more looking at the global macro economics of not just cryptocurrencies, but different sectors, different asset classes, and kind of to understand what central banks are doing or governments are doing with this whole pandemic. And then we'll go over the charts like always. First thing on the list is going over Bitcoin's code base preserved for 1,000 years in archive under Arctic ice. So I'm not going to dive too much into this, but I thought this was pretty interesting. A snapshot of the Bitcoin code base will be encoded into film reels and stored for 1,000 years under the Arctic ice in Svalbard, Norway. The move is a part of GitHub archive program with a mission to preserve open source software for future generations to learn about the culture of today. Pretty interesting. GitHub has partnered with institutions such as Software Heritage Foundation, Arctic World Archive, and Oxford University Bodleian Library, I think, to ensure the long-term preservation of code, which could otherwise be abandoned, forgotten, or lost. So, if you think that there's going to be a complete world end, no need to worry. The Bitcoin code is safe for another 1,000 years. Humanity might not be, but we can be rest assured that we'll be able to still have Bitcoin alive once again if worst case scenario comes. Next thing we're going to be looking at is the Q&A discussion that this Cointelegraph interview had with CZ, which is this man right here. He is the founder and CEO of Binance, the largest cryptocurrency exchange, and then we'll discuss what his opinions are on BTC as a safe haven, future of crypto, and kind of all around what he views the market as of right now. So first, we're going to talk about Bitcoin as a safe haven. Obviously, there has been a lot of talk as Bitcoin potentially being a safe haven for this upcoming recession/depression due to the fixed supply. And this is CZ's opinion on that. There are a lot of factors affecting the value of an asset, and it also varies during different times. We cannot say an asset is always a safe haven. Bitcoin's price drop is not the result of a single factor. We need to consider the overall crypto market and even the macroeconomic conditions. There are different dynamics in play. I completely agree with this. If you look at gold, it has been a safe haven for thousands of years, literally thousands of years, and you see gold drop 20% recently or 15%, right? So if you're looking at a safe haven and the end-all be-all best safe haven that humanity has been able to store value for, let's say, 6,000-7,000 years with, that asset can drop 10-20% in a very short period of time, and it's still valued as a safe haven asset. Now look at how long gold has been around. Look at the market cap of gold. It's valued at, let's say, $8-ish trillion in the market cap for gold. Look at cryptocurrencies. The market cap for cryptocurrencies was it 250 billion? So insignificant compared to the market cap of gold. So with a immature asset class like cryptocurrencies, less market cap, there's going to be more volatility and higher swings, both to the upside and to the downside. When and if you do see this fiat monetary system collapse, you are going to get, if the idea of BTC becoming a safe haven asset comes into fruition, you will have more volatility and BTC will have greater price appreciation in Bitcoin. So it goes further on the way down when it drops, and it goes higher on the way up when it does receive that buy pressure. So in my opinion, I completely agree with CZ on this one. In safe haven asset does not need to be completely stable at all times. Look at the US dollar. It's a lot more stable than gold, but you would never ever classify the US dollar as a safe haven asset for the long term. Look at how much value that you lost if you held, let's say, $1 million in, let's say, 1960s. From now, the amount of value that you have has deteriorated significantly compared to BTC and other safe haven, strict supply, or fixed supply assets. Let's continue reading here. Compared to the overall financial market, the market capitalization of the crypto market is much smaller, maybe around 1/1000th of the overall financial market. It's inevitable that the crypto market will be affected by the activities in the global financial markets. When the financial markets has lost trillions of dollars, it will affect the crypto market. If all fiat crashes, the crypto market cannot solve the issue. But as far as Bitcoin is concerned, it has a limited supply which stays unchangeable in any scenario. So I would say Bitcoin is relatively a safe haven. I do agree. You can't change the supply. You can't make more Bitcoin. You can only have really less than 21 million because some Bitcoins are sent to the wrong address, some are lost, some people throw away their computers which have their crypto on it and they can't find it or they can't access it. There's been Bitcoin that have been lost, never to be circulated again. There's actually going to be less than 21 million ever to be circulating around the world. Just simple math, there are over 300 million people living in the United States alone. People can't even own 0.1 Bitcoin. Everyone can't even own 0.1 Bitcoin. So if you're looking at it in terms of digital real estate, there is a very finite amount. If you own one BTC, that, in my opinion, if you're looking at it as a long-term investment, is a really solid investment for the crazy price of $6,200 right now, in my personal opinion. So let's continue on reading. This is the next paragraph right here. But if we look at this from the other way, we will find that it's a good opportunity to weed out the low quality projects that keep growing the good ones. So this is talking about when there is a market correction, a market crash, it is beneficial because it is going to weed out the projects that aren't so high quality, that are not really able to survive and don't have the longevity and the efficiency within the team, within the project itself, to continue the operation. So it is a good thing in the long run, although in the short run, it's causing pain, suffering, and disappointment for investors. But there is some good news for the past 2 weeks. The Supreme Court of India overturned the Reserve Bank of India's ban on banks dealing with crypto businesses. So they were thinking of implementing a bill or a rule that allows or that inhibits crypto businesses from using banks or dealing with banks, but they overturned that, so now it is still an opportunity for them. And then shortly after that news story, Korea legalized cryptocurrencies. Assuming that's South Korea. Don't that's North Korea. Korea legalized cryptocurrencies. So that's pretty cool. A lot of regulatory work in various countries are in progress. I believe all of these will positively impact the industry. And Binance is definitely the exchange to ask about global adoption because they are the leading exchange going into all the different countries in the world. I think there are over 100 countries, I believe. I think it says somewhere in this. But definitely check it out if you want to know more. Let's continue reading with this next quote here. What's more, blockchain is much fairer in solving the fundamental problems of the old system, which means the fiat-based system, or fiat-based system. It's unfair to use tax incomes to help inefficient organizations. The inefficient organizations should be left there. If the Federal Reserve prints more money to bring up the stock price, it gives CEO and institutions a chance to cash out instead of helping the retail users. I completely agree with CZ on this one. A bailout may solve the problems temporarily, but creates longer term problems. I completely agree. If you're just printing as much money as you need, there will always be an insufficient amount, because if that company gets bailed out, why don't I get bailed out? And then if I get bailed out, my neighbor is going to ask, why doesn't he get bailed out? And it's just going to be a cycle. How do you define who gets money and who doesn't is a very challenging thing. So at this point, they're just literally throwing it from helicopters, giving it to anyone and anyone who would like a bailout or a loan, basically. So let's continue reading on a little bit more. So this is going to be the upcoming projects and upcoming new developments for Binance. And we've been harping about BNB, Binance's coin, for a while, and we're going to talk about the actual stablecoin that Binance has created as well. So let's continue reading. Last year we launched the Venus project. Binance intends to cooperate with governments, businesses, and organizations in the issuance of a series of fiat-backed stablecoins with the target of offering financial services to people who don't even have a bank account. So they are expanding big time. They're intending on cooperating with governments, businesses, and organizations, and they have their roots in really everything because they are such a global enterprise of an exchange. They're the largest exchange in the world, and when they talk about going into cooperative projects with governments, businesses, and organizations, this is a big deal. And the fact that they are already creating a stablecoin within this next paragraph. As a part of the project, we've issued Binance USD, a stablecoin backed by the US dollar in partnership with Paxos. The stablecoin has been approved by the New York Department of Financial Services and is fully compliant. Recently, we've issued Binance KRW, the stablecoin backed by the South Korean won, with BXB. There are more projects in progress. Stay tuned. So what Binance is doing is giving you the ability to use not just the US dollar as a form of stablecoin, but now they're offering different fiat currencies like the South Korean won with BXB. So now it's just a matter of, are people going to stick with Tether, because that is currently the highest liquidity stablecoin that is offered within Binance. So it makes sense to use Tether if you are short-term trading, because with higher liquidity, you get less spread and you have to pay less in trading fees and pay for this spread. But as time goes on, we may see a shift from Tether into the full ecosystem of the Binance community. Say we don't want to use Tether anymore because it has negative news and we don't really know how much it's being backed. But we see right here that Binance USD is backed by the US dollar, and it's in partnership with Paxos. It's also approved by the New York Department of Financial Services and is fully compliant. So Binance is already a super well-established exchange, and now they're creating their own series of stable coins. Binance USD is already on there, but they're already looking at other fiat currency stable coins like the South Korean won, because that's a really good thing. Because if a stable coin is backed by the US dollar, but then if the US dollar is devaluing substantially, that's not really a stable coin, right? Because you're losing value. So you might want to have another stable coin that is tethered to a fiat currency not associated with the US dollar. So I think it's a great opinion, and it's a great move for Binance, in my opinion. So in 5 years going forward, so this is talking way in advance, Binance cloud exchanges will take over Binance.com and contribute the majority of the trading volume. In the future, the Open Platform Initiative may also encompass Binance P2P peer-to-peer platform and Binance Chain. Binance's P2P platform serves as an open marketplace facilitating direct trades between users and merchants. The Binance Chain is a public blockchain initiated by Binance and built through joint efforts of the community. So far, a lot of projects have migrated to Binance Chain. The quality of the projects is pretty high. Hopefully, more projects and developers will build on Binance Chain. So big projects, big things happening over with CZ. While business development is vital to us, it's only part of what makes Binance. At Binance, we devote a lot of our resources to build and nurture the industry. This is why I absolutely love him, because he's not just thinking in terms of, I want to build an exchange for myself, but he's thinking about the entire sector and the entire community of cryptocurrencies, and we can see it right here. Together with the community, we spent about a year building the Binance chain and launched it in April 2019. We also acquired or invested in a few projects and supported the developers of transformative projects projects through Binance Launchpad in an effort to grow the blockchain ecosystem and the crypto industry. So yeah, he's definitely trying to put money where it's hopefully going to grow small projects into something that is able to help the greater good of the entire community, not just so Binance grows into the Amazon of the cryptocurrency space, kind of. So let's continue on here. If you could travel back in time, where would you like to go? That was the interview asking CZ. If there's a time machine, I think I'd go to the future and see how blockchain has impacted man or humankind and how crypto is widely accepted as fiat is today and has refined the way of transferring value. So that's his reply to if you could travel back in time, where would you go? I found that pretty useful. So he's full out. He thinks that this is going to 100% transform humankind. I agree with him. And this is his last little paragraph here. I found it a little bit funny. He doesn't comment on price. He says, I don't comment on price. I will let everyone make their own judgments, especially now with the Fed printing so much money. The effect will be real. Some people say I am the counter signal. Ha ha. So they should sell every day as I am bullish every day. Probably won't work out too well. Yeah, I completely agree. So yeah, CZ's super bullish every day, he says. I can't say I'm bullish every day, but in terms of where cryptocurrency and blockchain sits in the global macro space, I am super bullish on the whole space, considering basically every single nation is printing money like it is absolutely nothing. So that's going to be the news stories of the day. We'll now go into the charts here, diving into BTC, going over the trade that we took, and then what we could be looking for the trade outcome, and then beyond. But first, I'm going to drink a little bit of coffee, and then we'll get started with the analysis for the charts. All right, and also for anyone who is currently watching on YouTube or TikTok, I will go through all the questions at the end of the video. So if you have a question and I haven't got to it, or if you have a question and you haven't sent it in, definitely do that. I will go over all the questions, every single one, at the end of the video, both on YouTube and TikTok. So yesterday's video, we talked about a potential entry that we have here. Not going to dive too far into the overall trade as to the larger term aspect of it, because we've already talked about it yesterday. And it just doesn't make sense to go over the same thing 5 days in a row, basically. But right now, we got an entry. Why did we enter there? Let's talk about it. We have on the large time frame, we have a large descending triangle where we have a resistance right here, and we see 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch, 5 touch, 6 touch. A lot of resistance at that zone, right? So we see initially we rejected at the highs here, and then boom, boom. And then all here we rejected. So we know that there's a lot of sell pressure right there. And that's a large time frame descending resistance zone. We know that for a fact. High probability of having sell pressure within that zone. Also in confluence with the previous support that we have right here. Very strong level before the massive move to the dump to the downside. And this was our first entry up here. And then we sold 50% right here and 50% when it got above that resistance right there. And then we came back up, and now we're retesting the previous support, which is right here, now going to be a new level of resistance. So we have a zone of confluence for the sellers at that zone. So for me, that's a high probability situation where sellers are going to be located right here. And we're not looking to just randomly enter at that zone because they're sellers. No, we're looking for confirmation. We're looking for high confirmation. So we see 1 rejection, 2 rejection, 3 rejection, 4 rejection, 5 rejection. A lot of rejections at that zone, giving me a high probability chance that we will most likely move to the downside. And we're not looking for just rejection. So that's price action, right? So within the larger descending triangle, we see a smaller descending triangle, right? So let's take another picture. So this is the descending triangle right here. If you can see that very clearly, we see a high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. So we're getting a series of lower highs, and we're holding a horizontal level of support. Once this support gets broken, previous resistance as we can see, it's probably going to be acting as a new level of resistance, as we can see right here. So once we got this descending triangle to break to the downside, and created a lower low. What are we looking for? We're looking for a lower high, right? We're looking to initiate the bearish structure, lower high, lower low formation. So we got a lower low. We're looking for that lower high to come in, and that is exactly where we entered on the pullback after we got the pullback to hit our previous resistance and support right here and here and here. And once it's validated, then we will look for a nice sell entry signal right at that zone. And that's exactly what we did. You can see where we entered at 63.40 right here, and then also looking at the call that we did on the crypto markets. Let's zoom back a little bit. Right here, my stop loss was set as 65.04, and then entered a short position at 63.40 right here. 63.40 is my entry, and then 65.04 was the trade. And then this is that same trade, exact same trade, and now we see it come towards our intended direction. And then zooming out a little bit, even going on the oh yeah, that's what happened. Okay, so let's just go to the 4 hour on here for now. So on the 4 hour, we can see key level of support at around 5,800, 5,875 is going to be my first take profit. And then it's just a matter of if we're going to push below the 5,850 zone and then test this area. So let's take a picture of the 4 hour. So we got a nice entry right here. We're probably going to hit this zone, this level of support, most likely. And that's going to be my first take profit because we've rejected so aggressively from the ascending wedge break right there. So that's going to be the first take profit. And if it goes below, we'll try to hold on to it and then look for a possible continuation pattern if it breaks this key level of support right around here. But that's for a later point in time. We got a good entry right now, and then just managing the trade that we're in. First level of take profit is going to be around right there because we see it used as a key level of support right here. Resistance, resistance, support, support, support. Probably going to be a key level of support, and then it's going to probably continue on this descending triangle. So, you know, we'll see something like this probably. Trading in this range, in my opinion, is a little bit risky and a lot less dependable because you are getting closer and closer to the apex. Less, you know, random swings. You don't have a lot of space between your resistance and support or support and resistance, so your risk reward is not going to be very favorable. So the deeper you go into this funnel, it makes sense just to patiently wait until it breaks, and then you have a breakout trade that you could have a higher probability trading. So right now, that's going to be our plan. We're going to have we already had our entry here, first take profit. If it doesn't get to that zone and starts coming back, we might be looking to basically have a risk-free opportunity to the downside. So we're going to put our stop loss to the entry, and then we're going to let it fiddle or play around all here. And if it comes back up to hit our entry point, we're just going to get out and not have any risk on the table and just wait until it confirms either to the break to the upside or break to the downside. But as of right now, as long as it's falling, we're very happy with our entry. We're happy with where we got a good entry right here. And then we're going to see if it's able to dump further down. And our first take profit will be around the 58.75 zone. So that's the overall structure of the market on BTC, in my personal opinion. You're probably thinking, why in the world does he not have the 4 hour chart? And right now, every single chart looks the same. What do I mean by that? This BTC chart is 1 hour on Binance. This BTC, what I did is I accidentally closed the Brave browser, and now all my browsers are basically the same. So all these BTCs are the same. I just changed this one so it has gold, silver, and all that. So it's back to normal. But what do we see now? All my altcoins have now basically cleared all my TA. So now they all are on naked charts on the daily. So I think this would be a really good time to go over from the daily and discuss how I look at the chart from a large time frame to a small. Also, I got this mouse pad that's like a touch mouse pad on a laptop, and it's freaking awesome. Excuse me. So we'll go over the naked charts here. We'll go over a little bit slowly. I'm going to try to use this touchpad because I actually really like it. Better than the mouse. My hand's been hurting a little bit because I've been on my computer way too much. But yeah, we're going to go over the large time frames and work our way down on Ethereum, XRP, BNB, Link, and EOS. It'll be a little bit slower because we're going to go from large time frames to small, as well as draw in all our major zones of support and resistance. So it'll be a little bit more slowed down, a little bit more laid back. We're already on our trade on Bitcoin, and it's doing pretty favorable right now. So there's not much to do, right? We're already in the profit, making money, and now we're just gonna relax and draw some nice trend lines, because I get very, very not peaceful, but like it's like meditative for me, looking at price action and trying to dissect it, in my personal opinion. And because we're already in a trade, there is zero rush to be entering any more trades. And yeah, okay, let's start it. Ethereum is going to be the first one. Also be a little bit slower because I'm touching with my mouse pad, which is a very, very handy tool that we have here. All right, so this is going to be the weekly for Ethereum. As we can see, we're basically almost at the lows here. 90 bucks, just under 90 bucks is going to be the major low that we have. And it really just hit that zone. So if you're looking to dollar cost average, look at these lows that we're having right here. You know, it's like buying back in August of 2017. If you can think about it in that sense. So if you're thinking, wow, that bull run was so crazy for Ethereum, it went up to $1,000, $1,200 or whatever, $1,400. Yeah, like you could have that second opportunity. And we're sitting at $129 right now on the weekly here, and we're sitting right at the lows. And it's just a matter of will it break this key zone? If it does break that key zone, we're gonna probably look for some descending. Let's get the touch. Nope, that didn't work. All right, so if it does break that zone, I do think this is going to be the next area of potential support that we're going to hold. So we got a series of lower highs, and I'm just connecting them right here. And I wouldn't be too surprised if this got hit yet again, because theoretically, if you're just looking at where it could be touching, we do have a bit of a gap here. But I don't think it'll go much lower. Let's dive into the smaller time frames. But on the large time frame, we've got a very strong level of support at around $89, $90. And then your main level of resistance within our current range right now is going to be around $300 to $280 is going to be your major level of resistance, as we can see right around here. Previous level of resistance back in the summer of 2019. And now we just retested that before absolutely dumping down. Oops. Let's go back. All right. Oops. Only thing, when I'm trying to zoom out, it seems like my hand is going, it's widening where it shouldn't. Okay, so let's refine this a little bit. So we got 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch, and it's getting less as we get along. We could probably create another trend line, like here. I'm just gonna get another mouse, just so I can have the click like so. Oops, gotta get used to the hand mouse a little bit. Okay, screw this. I just gotta click the trend line. There we go. All right. So looking at where else we could draw it, just looking for potential series of lower highs. And get that right there. I think I might even just put this on here. Yeah, see, this is why it's might take a little bit longer, just because I'm trying to get used to this. Not really. We see a couple touches of that zone, but I think I'm just going to leave it where it is, of a potential level of support. But you know, as I see the market right now, I think it's just going to come back down to here. But I'll just leave that there. Okay, I'm going to use this mouse here. All right, so let's zoom out a little bit and talk about the daily. I think that was a little bit too slow for me to actually navigate my way around. So right now, let's look at the daily. I'm just going to use the mouse. It's a lot quicker. All right, so we got a massive move to the upside and a massive dump down, right? Huge move to the upside, massive dump down. So now we're in a bearish trend. In my view, this is a small pullback for at least a double bottom. Looking at not all, but a lot of the market bottoms, we're not seeing this. It's not a very, very quick V bottom. You get a downtrend, which is a series of lower lows and lower highs, and then you see a bottom. You see some level of consolidation, and then you see an uptrend for almost all the major macro shifts in the market. Like we see right here, this was the bear market of 2018, and this was the consolidation before that huge run-up, right? So this was that market shift that we saw from a bearish trend into a bullish trend. And we see this is still the bearish trend. We see our pullback, and then we see a continuation, and then we see it make a higher low, which then begs the question, is it now a consolidation? And then once it holds that higher low, yes, it is a consolidation. You're looking for that high, which is right here. You see a high, you see a high. It breaks, holds for support, squeezes, and then has a massive bullish push to the upside. So, you know, consolidations are very important for a trend reversal. And in my view, this is the consolidation we see right now. We could see another dip here. It might not go all the way to the lows, but in my personal view, this ascending zone right here, bit of a squeeze, and we're going to get a little trickle, maybe to this low, maybe to the 84, depending on how far BTC drops. But yeah, right now, strong level of 150, and if it breaks that, I'll be looking a little bit more bullish, but at this point right now, that's the main level of supply that the price is still holding below. And we see it hold pretty well right here. We see a series of higher lows still coming into the market, so we are still on the pullback. Let's just go to right here. Oops. The thing with this is it's not really precise, and I think on the 1 hour, we're able to see a candle closure right here. So if we put that right there, and that goes right there. So that's the zone that we have prior. Not perfect, but you know, we try to make it work. And then we see another squeeze occurring right here. And that's going to be red. And then we see another horizontal zone right around here. So if it breaks down below 120, that would be a good opportunity. You know, in here would be a zone of confluence because we have the horizontal zone as well. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, I think it's a higher probability of you entering here. We've already got an entry on BTC, so I don't think that we should be forcing trades or anything. But that's how I view in the market right now. Let's just talk about the market flow and the different possibilities that we could see from this current market structure. So right now, in my view, I see this. I see this descending zone and this ascending zone already broken. So it squeezed, it pushed, and now it is within this zone. And now it's just a matter of if we're going to form a lower low and a lower high, then we're looking to short. Or if we're going to break the descending zone right here, and then we could be looking for some buy pressure, but in my view, the market is more in a downtrend, and I'm going to be looking for the failure. So we're going to have a huge push to the downside, and then we're going to have a big, quick recovery, and then like a slow fade to the downside to test a key level of support. So that's going to be my view of the market, and I don't mind if it's going to take a little bit longer. It's not a fact, but there's a high probability that the upswing is going to be a lot quicker than the downswing. So it's going to be aggressive, and then it'll go like this, kind of. So then the entrance short to the main take profit is going to be a lot longer than from the initial take profit zone to where I'm looking at a high or even at an entry. So understanding that, we got to have patience. We got to sit on our hands, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? So that's the first thing we have to understand about the trade that we are taking. But other than that, that's not really much. There's not really much more to say on Ethereum. Yeah, break of the 123, 122 is going to be what I'm looking at for a short opportunity. For longs, not really looking to long at this very moment. But if it does present a long opportunity, and I do think it's a high probability situation, I'll take it. Probably going to be on a smaller time frame because I don't see any longs whatsoever on large time frames, but we'll see how it goes. We're not really going to be trying to force trades when we already have a great trade on Bitcoin. All right, so this is XRP here. It's just getting absolutely demolished. This is the weekly, and we can see we're making lower lows here. This is a low, lower low, lower low, lower low, and then if you just connect the lower lows, we are in a bit of a channel, as we can see right here, and this can be green. And it's an expanding channel, as we can see like here, which is creating more and more volatility within the market. And we can even probably put that all the way back here. Wow, this goes all the way back, hey? Look at that. Let's bring that a little bit higher. All right. The next main high. So that's kind of how I view the market. And then we'll put some horizontal zones where they should be. Like right here should be the biggest horizontal zone that we have on the entire chart. The 30-cent zone is a pivotal zone for XRP. So now we got a low here, potentially. You know, we'll see how that goes, but now we got a potential move if it does look like a long, you know, to the high here. 66%. That's crazy on the weekly, right? So this is just like macro views of like what we're seeing, and we're gonna see something like this. We're not looking to enter just yet, but we're gonna see some sort of consolidation and a potential reversal pattern. But yeah, let's just talk about what we're gonna see here, or what we could see here on XRP. Gonna get a little bit of coffee, and then we'll continue on with the analysis. All right, so what do we see here? We see expanding zones, right? So it's expanding, so we're getting significantly lower lows. Knowing that, the sellers are strong, right? Because they're increasingly pushing the price lower and lower and lower. And we can see every single time we hit a low, right? Like, for example, let's say this zone. We hit a low, we consolidate for a little while, and then we hit another low, and then we trend up for a little while. We go down, we hit a low, and then we hit another low, and then we start trending up. In this case, we hit a low. I think we're going to hit another low, in my personal opinion, before we start the consolidation, and then before we start the trend back up. Because initially when we get that first major dump, like here, we see a horizontal zone, we see first major dump, and then yes, it does consolidate, and then it makes another low, and then it starts to come back up here, back into the zone. So in my view, we are holding dump, dump, and then we go up here, and we travel down, dump, dump, and then we travel up. In my personal view, that's how I view the markets. It takes some level of consolidation before you see a move up. It's not like it's going to come down and then it's come right back up. No, you see the lows here, consolidation. You do see a pullback, but then you see a rip right back down. So this is going to be a retest of the resistance before the next leg down. So on the larger time frame, what does this look like? You see a push, you see a pullback, and then you see another leg down, creating a lower low structure. So my personal view, I think that we're going to get something similar. So if you're looking at it like this, you get a push down, lower low structure, kind of like that. And what we're seeing right here in this current price range, you can look at it like that. You can look at it like that. You know, you can look at it in many different ways. You can look at it like that, of an ascending zone and an ascending zone. So right now we're in a downtrend, right? And then these consolidations are the pullbacks. So you're getting wedges, you're getting channels, you're getting ascending trend lines, whatever the case may be. But this is what you are getting, is these pullbacks are creating great opportunities to enter on short plays. So right now we're getting another wedge right here. This is an expanding like so, but you see 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch, and then it breaks and you need to be looking for a short opportunity. But at the end of the day, we see a nice opportunity, and then we're looking for that lower low formation because we're in a downtrend, right? We're not in an uptrend. It doesn't make sense to be looking for longs. And just look at where it is. We're boom, lower low. Holding the high, not able to make a higher high really on the weekly. This is just a wick. The candle closure is right at that zone. you're making a lower low. It's probably going to spill and then form some sort of consolidation here, like we see here, a low, a massive move to the downside, some consolidation, and another dump lower, making a lower low, and then you see another consolidation, and then you see the uptrend start. Right here, you're seeing a dump. You're going to get a little bit of a retracement, like we saw here, retracement, and then another dump down, retracement, another dump down to form a lower low, and then you're going to get the consolidation you're looking for in my personal view. So that's gonna be how I look at XRP. Now looking at the 4-hour, very, very well-respected ascending zone that we have on XRP. Oops. Let's get our arrow and our trend line right here. Let's get that zone right there and make it green. Like so, and then we got our resistance perfectly like that. Maybe a little bit higher. There. So that's going to be my zone that I'm going to use to see if the price breaks below it, and then I'm just going to go and create this horizontal zone like so. Alright, so what is the game plan on the 4-hour time frame? We do see this is a high, this is a lower high, we're squeezing down, and we also see that ascending zone is creating a zone of confluence for the support with the horizontal zone, resistance, 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 support, support, key level. So once it breaks this zone, I'm really looking to short, and then if it's able to form a lower high, really looking for a short opportunity within this range. Like always, I will notify the Performante Premium members of any entries that I have on XRP. And for the people who have been following us and who've seen us make some pretty profitable calls, you can join and enter at the same time as us. We do provide signals for all of our students, so you can get a good entry as well. So that's XRP, nothing too crazy, not going to get too much more into it. Overall, pretty happy with the overall structure. We've been looking at this for a possible short for a while now, and it hasn't come through, but it could be a play. Patience is the name of the game. If you don't see something you like, you just don't enter, simple as that. But yeah, that is going to be XRP. Next one that we're going to dive into is going to be BNB. BNB is Binance coin. We've already talked about Binance within the news topics of today, talking about how much of a beast Binance is and how much they are taking over and how global they are as an exchange. You see other exchanges kind of dominate only certain countries, like Coinbase is dominating America, but you know, you don't see Coinbase as much in other countries, but Binance is truly global. And yeah, owning Binance coin is kind of like owning shares in Binance. They burn the coins that they have minted, so there is a somewhat of a fixed supply, somewhat of a supply that doesn't expand to a point where it's an obscene amount of money or obscene amount of tokens like the US federal government. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Let's go to BNB now. On the daily chart, let's just zoom all the way back out here. Like XRP, we are still forming lower lows. Let's just draw a trend line. Seeing what we can connect. I think that's going to be the zone. Yep, that's going to be the zone. Let's move this up a little bit. There we go. That's going to be the area I want. That's the perfect area. All right. Support and resistance in previous historic time frames, probably going to be a next level of support yet again. Very, very similar structure to XRP here. Very, very similar. Just going to see if this trend line connects. Not really. We got a little bit of time before that is able to hold. So I'm probably just going to be going over some support zones and resistance zones like we can see right here. Key level of support of the bounce in December of 2018, or 2019, sorry, and January of 2020. Very strong bounce at that level. As you can see within the consolidation, what do you get? A massive drop, a low, a spill, where you get an ascending trend line right there, another spill, and then you get the consolidation for the market to hold. Same thing, massive move to the downside, you're getting a pullback, there's probably going to be another spill. Maybe not to make a lower low, maybe to make a lower low, but I think it's an entry that we're wanting to be in. So that's what we're waiting for. Patience is the name of the game. So, not perfect. 1, 2, 3. Fourth would be nice, but I'm not going to demand it from the market. And then we got a mid-range zone right here. Very similar to basically a lot of these market structures for a lot of the different altcoins that we're going to be trading. And I'll just put a large supply zone right here. So yeah, that's going to be the trade. Basically a lot like XRP. We're going to be looking for that spillover zone of confluence here. We could even draw a mini zone of confluence within the consolidation right around here. And that's going to be another zone of confluence right here. So it could drop below $12, and we'll be looking as long as it holds below that ascending zone. And then breaking $11, in my opinion, will be a pretty solid confirmation that we're probably going to be forming that next spill to, you know, $7 or even $6 maybe, in the $5 range. That would be pretty crazy. And buying BNB at that range would be unbelievable. It went up to plus $30, $40. Let's just look. I'm not going to look all the way, but it went to like what, 40 bucks. I think that was on the high, 39 bucks. So yeah, $5 to 40 bucks. You know, would you be happy with those gains? I sure as hell would. And yeah, like I said, a lot of positive fundamentals on BNB, and all around, in my opinion, obviously my opinion, it's a great long-term investment. Just my two strategies. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not follow what I say. You should follow what you think, and you should get unbiased information and filter it within your own ideas to come up with your own solution to farm your own decisions. So that's going to be BNB, looking like a real good opportunity in my personal opinion. All right, Chainlink. First things first. Actually, first things first, they actually took out that massive wick because I think a lot of people didn't like that there. So first things first, they took out that massive wick that basically brought the link price down to almost nothing. It was at 0.001. So just something to note, and then just very, very simple structural zones that we're going to be placing on our link. $3 main resistance, $1.55 main level of support, and now we're within that zone. Like we said before, massive dump to the downside, we're probably going to get another spill. We see that yet again. This is not an ascending zone, but it's a horizontal zone. We see a strong move to the downside, and we see a support get held, and we see another low. That next spill, right? That's what we're looking for. The next spill coming back to $1.55. And it's looking pretty favorable here. This resistance is well respected, which I really enjoy, which is providing solid opportunities to make sure the sellers are strong in the market. So we got a nice resistance zone right here. Actually, it would be in my opinion, decent entry here coming up shortly. And then we'll get our support, which already broke one. If we wanted to be a little bit more conservative, I think that's going to be the best zone for a support. So we got the end there, we got our first touch point right there, and then we got another one right there. So we're within a range, and we can also put one that's already been broken, which is going to be this one right here. So this is going to be the trend line that already broke, meaning we're going to put it very small and just do it so it is barely visible, but we still want to understand that the price did break our first squeeze, came down, retested the resistance, and now we are still continuing to the downside. So let's look at the 1 hour chart. We had a nice little consolidation within that range. Let's draw our mid-range zone right here. Key level, and we can see yet again we've held this zone for a resistance. So actually, in my opinion, this is looking like a pretty good feeler entry, and then once it breaks the major zone, we just need to get that nice pullback to validate the previous support as a new level of resistance. This would be a feeler entry, and what you'd be looking for is a small entry here that you would then add on to here, right? So then you're able to size up without really having to risk more. So you'd put maybe 20% of your position right there, with a risk that you'd be comfortable with, because you're reducing the risk, because this is not as a high probability setup, or it's not as dependable as a setup, because you're not breaking the main squeeze. Here, around here, if it did pull back, would be a pretty high dependable setup, because it's completing the squeeze. Now we're still within that major squeeze, so it's less dependable, but at the end of the day, we're hitting that main level of resistance that we've respected multiple times. So it's decent, right? So we're looking for that pullback, and that's going to be our first entry. And once it breaks this major structural zone, then we're going to be looking to add with this already in mind that we've already added. So now we've already are in the money with our second major addition for our move here. So that's going to be Link. Like I said, we're going to be posting it for the Perfect Monday Premium members if we do enter, but BTC right now is looking pretty favorable. And this is kind of the only trade I'm going to be looking for to enter as of right now. XRP is still waiting, BNB still waiting, Ethereum is still waiting, and Link's kind of the only one that looks like a possible entry for the short term. All right, EOS is going to be the last alt that we're going to be looking into. Going to have a quick drink of coffee, and then we'll get right into it. All right. Quick look at BTC. It is yet again falling. Great to see go towards our take profit zone. Yeah, overall very happy. Alrighty, let's now go and talk about EOS, longer term time frame. My hand's kind of hurting here. I might try this. Fuck it. First things first. Oh, what I do? Did something. Let's go back to EOS on the daily. All right. Key level of support at $1.50. Right around there. Key level of resistance going to be 350-ish, right around there. It's kind of a zone, actually. I think I might incorporate that huge area. $3 to $3.45. Obviously, it's a major zone. But yeah, same thing. You know, we see these spill, pullback, and then a spill at least to the low. That's what we're looking for. Excuse me. Spill, pullback, made a lower low. Right? Spill, pullback, made a lower low. Stuff happens all the time. And then once you see the lower low, then you see the consolidation, right? Form the same low, then you see the consolidation, break up, previous resistance, new level of support, little move to the upside, right? It's just market structure, guys. Market structure. So now we're seeing an uptrend. We're going to spill to a low here. And that is the trade setup for all of these alts. Don't really know much to, don't really know what else to add on the information because I don't want to overcomplicate things because it truly is not something to overcomplicate. Now look at the previous market structure. Look at the overall trend that we've been seeing. And yeah, it's not easy to trade, but complicating it just makes it even more difficult, and there's no need for that. Okay, there is our minor level that we've already broken, and then we got our major zone right here. Boom. So lower low, lower high, we're looking to enter. That's basically it. Very, very simple structure all around. So EOS is looking good. Link is looking good as well. Link's actually looking better than all of them in terms of the potential opportunity that we have for a feeler trade. And then EOS, once it breaks that support and tests the new resistance, then we're going to be looking absolutely phenomenal for our trade. So that is the completion of the crypto market update. Thank you very much for watching. We appreciate you taking the time to engage with us. And like always, we will go over all the questions that have been asked within this crypto market update. If you're watching a recording on YouTube, we do this live every single weekday, Monday to Friday. We do a crypto market update, which is just talking about cryptocurrencies, and then we go through a global macro update, going through the different assets that are more related to do with global macro, gold, silver, S&P, looking at US dollar index and all that stuff. So thank you very much for watching. That is the completion of today's crypto market update. And until next time, happy trading, everyone.